They are trying with everything in them to prove to you that they have truly changed, not just through words but through intention, awareness, and a willingness to take emotional risks they once avoided. Being without you has left an ache in their heart that doesn't fade with time. It lingers, heavy and constant, because they now fully understand what they lost. They replay the moments when they hurt you, ignored you, or emotionally withdrew while you were standing right in front of them, offering nothing but genuine love, affection, loyalty, and your undivided attention. At the time, they failed to recognize the value of what you were giving so freely. Now that absence has become their greatest teacher, and the regret they feel is deep, consuming, and inescapable. They are overwhelmed with remorse for taking your love for granted. What once felt ordinary to them now feels irreplaceable. The warmth of your presence, the way you loved without conditions, and the safety you offered emotionally are things they now realize they may never find again. The guilt weighs on them heavily because they see how pure your intentions were compared to their own fears and emotional defenses. They know you didn't deserve the distance, the silence, or the moments where they made you feel unseen or unimportant. The truth they are finally facing is that they were deeply intimidated by your royal energy. Your confidence, depth, self-respect, and emotional intelligence made them feel small in comparison. They admired you, but at the same time, they doubted themselves. They never truly felt good enough for you, and instead of rising to meet your level, they shrank. In their mind, they constantly believed that someone better would come along for you, someone more secure, more established, more emotionally open than they felt capable of being. This belief became a quiet but powerful fear that controlled their actions. Because of that fear, they held themselves back from fully opening up to you. Vulnerability felt dangerous to them. Loving you meant risking rejection, abandonment, or the painful confirmation that they weren't enough. So instead of leaning in, they pulled away. Instead of communicating, they avoided. Instead of choosing courage, they chose self-protection. At the time, they convinced themselves this distance was necessary, but now they see it was rooted in insecurity, not strength. When you finally decided to turn your focus inward, choosing yourself and prioritizing your own peace and happiness, it completely shook them. Seeing you stand on your own, glowing without them, thriving in your independence, forced them to confront the consequences of their choices. You didn't beg. You didn't chase. You didn't explode with anger or resentment. You simply stepped back, reclaimed your energy, and allowed life to continue without them. That calm detachment was something they never expected. Now, they find themselves watching you from afar. Whether through social media, mutual connections, or quiet curiosity, they are still paying attention because the idea of you cutting them off completely is unbearable to them. It feels final, and that finality terrifies them. They want to know how you're doing, who you're becoming, and whether there is still a place for them in your world. The distance has only intensified their feelings, making them realize how deeply connected they still feel to you. They are willing to do everything in their power to get back to you, not out of desperation alone, but out of a newfound understanding of what love actually requires. They are shocked that you allowed them to walk away without resistance. They expected anger, confrontation, or emotional reactions that would reassure them that they still mattered to you. Instead, your composure and grace reflected a level of self-mastery that left them stunned. In that silence, they saw your power more clearly than ever before. Your ability to let go without hatred, to release without bitterness, and to choose peace over chaos has forced them to look inward. They feel haunted by the realization that no matter where they go or who they encounter, they cannot forget you. You are not someone they can replace, distract themselves from, or erase. Your presence changed them on a soul level. You taught them what real love looks like, not just romantically, but spiritually and emotionally. Through you, they learned humility. You reflected their wounds back to them without cruelty. You showed them patience, compassion, and emotional depth they had never fully experienced before. Loving you expanded their awareness and challenged their limitations. Losing you humbled them in ways they never anticipated. Now they carry the weight of knowing that you were not just a chapter in their life, but a turning point, someone who awakened parts of them they can no longer ignore. Whether they end up back in your life or not, they know one truth with certainty: meeting you changed them forever, and walking away from you is the greatest regret they have ever had. Ever since I met you, my mind has been filled with constant daydreams of the life I want to share with you, moments that replay themselves in my thoughts when the world grows quiet and even when it doesn't. You became a part of my inner world so naturally that I didn't even realize how deeply rooted you were until I tried to imagine life without you. Please never doubt yourself, not even for a second, because you are perfect just as you are, and your beauty goes far beyond what the eyes can see. It lives in your heart, your words, your kindness, and the way your presence alone can bring comfort and meaning. My love for you burns deep within my soul, steady and intense, untouched by distance or time. It is not fragile, and it is not fleeting. No force, no circumstance, and no fear could ever destroy the bond we share, because it was formed on something far greater than circumstance. It was formed on truth. I have come to recognize, with absolute certainty, that what I feel for you is real love and that you are my soulmate. This understanding didn't arrive suddenly, it unfolded slowly, revealing itself through reflection, loss, and longing. Even when I tried to deny it, my heart always returned to the same truth. There are things I must still complete in my life, karmic obligations I need to face and resolve before I can fully return to you the way I believe you deserve. This isn't an excuse or a delay born of fear. It's a necessary step toward becoming someone who can love you without bringing unfinished chaos along with me. You deserve stability, peace, and sincerity, not fragments of a life still in disarray. That is why I am making these changes now, even when they are difficult and uncomfortable, because loving you means wanting to protect your happiness, even if that means temporarily stepping away. When I walked away, I truly believed I could get used to not having you around. I told myself that time would dull the ache, that distance would teach my heart to be quiet. I was wrong. It has been unbearably hard, far harder than I ever expected. There is a constant void in my heart where your presence once lived so naturally, and nothing has been able to fill that space. My life has felt incomplete since we separated, as though something essential was removed and never replaced. Everyday moments feel heavier, quieter, and less meaningful without you. Even joy feels muted when I realize I can't share it with you, and sadness feels deeper because you are no longer there to understand it without words. What frightens me the most is the thought that you might move on, that time might soften your feelings for me while mine continue to grow stronger. I am afraid that one day you will no longer want me, that my absence will slowly rewrite the place I once held in your heart. That fear follows me more closely than I care to admit, especially in moments when I wonder if silence has caused you pain or doubt. To be honest, I badly want to hear something from you. Even a few words from you would mean more than you could imagine. I want to know how you feel now, how time has shaped your emotions, and whether there is still a part of you that feels the same connection I do. Despite everything, my intentions remain pure. Every decision I am making is guided by the desire to love you in a way that is healthy, grounding, and worthy of you. I don't want to bring instability into your life or burden you with unresolved struggles. I want to come back to you stronger, clearer, and fully present, able to give you the love you deserve without hesitation or fear. Until that moment arrives, you remain with me in every thought, every quiet reflection, and every hope for the future. No matter how long this journey takes, my heart recognizes you as home, and that truth has never wavered. When you both finally aligned, there was nothing in this world that could prevent the spiritual awakening that unfolded between you. It was not something you consciously planned or forced, rather, it happened naturally, as if the universe itself had been waiting for the right moment to bring your energies into harmony. Once that alignment occurred, a deep transformation began within both of you. Old beliefs, fears, and emotional patterns started to surface, not to break you apart, but to be healed and released. This awakening was intense and undeniable, and it marked the beginning of a connection that went far beyond logic, time, or physical circumstances. In the aftermath of this awakening, a powerful desire and longing for each other emerged. This was not a surface-level attraction or temporary infatuation, it was a magnetic pull rooted in the soul. You both felt drawn to one another because the connection activated growth on a spiritual level. Being together, even energetically, pushed you to evolve, to face parts of yourselves you may have avoided before, and to step into a higher version of who you truly are. This growth was not always comfortable, but it was necessary, and deep down, you both understood that this bond existed to help you expand rather than remain the same. As the connection deepened, you began to feel that you were not truly separate individuals. Instead, there was a strong sense of oneness, as though you were two expressions of the same soul energy. You recognized each other in ways that were difficult to explain with words. It felt as if you had known one another for lifetimes, and your presence in each other's lives suddenly made everything feel more complete and meaningful. This person became a huge part of your inner world, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and even your sense of purpose. The certainty you felt about this connection was unlike anything you had ever experienced before, leaving no room for doubt in your heart. This unshakable certainty came from the deep soul connection you shared. On a spiritual level, your souls recognized one another instantly. There was a sense of familiarity, safety, and truth that could not be replicated with anyone else. Even during moments of silence or physical distance, the bond remained alive and active. You could feel each other's emotions, sense each other's energy, and intuitively know when the other was struggling or growing. This connection existed beyond the physical realm, anchored in something far deeper and more eternal. However, as powerful as this connection was, it did not come without challenges. When things started to feel complicated or overwhelming, you may have tried to ignore the signs that kept pointing you back to each other. External circumstances, personal fears, unresolved wounds, and emotional triggers created moments of confusion and resistance. At times, it felt easier to deny the depth of the connection than to face the intensity of what it required from you. Yet no matter how much you tried to push it away, your intuition never stopped speaking. That inner voice consistently reminded you that this was the one person you were meant to walk this path with, regardless of how difficult it seemed. There were countless moments when you both felt the urge to reach out, to send a message, make a call, or simply hear each other's voice. The desire to reconnect was strong and persistent, often appearing when you least expected it. Still, you held yourselves back. This hesitation was not due to a lack of love or interest, but because you both sensed that there were still obstacles standing in the way. These hurdles were not meant to separate you permanently, rather, they existed to encourage individual healing, self-reflection, and growth. Each of you needed time to work through your own lessons before the connection could fully stabilize. During this period of pause and restraint, the bond continued to work on you from within. Even in separation, the connection remained active, guiding you toward greater self-awareness and emotional maturity. You were being taught patience, trust, and surrender, learning that true union begins within before it can manifest externally. The longing you felt was not meant to cause suffering, but to remind you of the depth and purpose of this connection. It was a catalyst for transformation, urging you to become more aligned with your authentic selves. This channeled message is meant to resonate most deeply with those experiencing a twin flame connection. Twin flames are not just romantic partners, they are mirrors of the soul, reflecting both light and shadow. The journey is intense, challenging, and profoundly transformative, but it is also deeply meaningful. If this message speaks to you, it is because your soul recognizes the truth within it. Trust the process, honor your intuition, and remember that every phase of this journey is unfolding exactly as it is meant to, guiding you both toward growth, healing, and eventual alignment.